Well, it's 8:00.
It
You know what that means?
is.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chat on Education Live.
Hi.
It's Friday.
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 As they say. I'm tired, so you guys are going to need to carry this and me at some point, probably. I crushed a Mountain Dew about 30 seconds ago, and we're counting on that riding. I'm going to ride the wave of caffeine for the next 45 to 50 minutes of nonsense to see if we can and then I'm going to just crawl to the couch that's right over there as soon as we're done.
And then
How's
Cheryl's
everybody
going to put a blanket over you?
Probably not. So how are we doing, everybody? How was your week?
It's been exhausting, as you said. So we collected iPads today from our students, and so that was a big undertaking, and wrapping up the school year with students. That's a lot.
Yeah, when does the school year actually end?
So the 28th, I think, for most schools
in your state.
In Minnesota. Yeah.
In Minnesota.
I think there are a few who go a little bit longer into June, but I think most are just calling it done on May 28th. So we actually have graduation tonight for our seniors. So it's going to be broadcasted and people can watch it from a safe distance. So yeah.
Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And how did iPad collection day go?
It actually went really, really well. I was super anxious about it. I did not sleep well last night. So I was kind of in charge of organizing it and making sure, everybody who's volunteering is safe, and then everybody who's coming is safe. And
right.
We actually got about half of our inventory back today. Which is great. We have another day on Tuesday where we will be collecting. We're also collecting library books. I had 1,400 library books still out that we needed to collect, and we got a handful back today. But we're still, we're working towards it. But it was smooth. It was actually, decent weather. It wasn't hot and it wasn't rainy at all, so that was good. And so we were able to be outside the whole time. And families just came steadily. It was not necessarily a mad rush like I was expecting it might be. I was just envisioning like angry parents who were like having to wait, for a long time to drop off their stuff or receive their choice boards and yearbooks and things like that. And luckily it was very smooth. So yeah.
How was your week, Mel?
Hey, my week was great because my niece finally was born. Well, I shouldn't say finally was born because she was a week early. But yes, Maya Irene came the other day, and I'm looking forward to getting to her and snuggle her, but she's going to hang out in the NICU for just a little bit because she's just got a little bit of pneumonia. And since she's born in a COVID hotspot, I'm like, the NICU is the right place for her to hang out until it's time for her to go home.
What a crazy time to have a kid.
Amen. But, that's my sister works at that hospital. It's her home.
Okay.
She, that's where she's happy.
She's got the inside scoop.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She can pull strings.
With her when she was delivering?
My brother-in-law was there.
Okay.
So they were, I don't think anyone else can go. So it'll still be a week before my nephew can meet his little sister. So he has, he's 2. No clue what life will be like here soon. Claudia, what about you?
Well, good week. I work all summer, so I'm not going to have a break, but the students are wrapping up, I want to say next week. I know that the seniors are turning in their Chromebooks, and those students that are returning, either whichever other grade, they're keeping them over the summer, the last I heard. So there's only, it's not a ton that need to be picked up, so that's good. Good. I guess something else. Today officially was my daughter's last day of school, so now I have a junior. So she is done with 10th grade. And so, in fact, I just drove up the street a little while ago. So I think our town now I don't work in the district that I live in, but the district my wife does. So they're having some sort of reverse drive around the city to go through seniors' yards or houses. I saw a bunch of signs, so that's pretty neat. I think this is I think a nice side effect of COVID. Of this kind of like just really giving a shout out to students. So I hope that it continues afterwards. Even like if we go back to normal, but continue something like this. I think it would be great to keep this going. The good spirit, I guess, a better word. But I think like everyone, I think I am still kind of worn out though. It's starting to get to me. Like, oh, it's just, I don't know. Back. I can see it in your eyes, Mike. I can see it in your eyes.
I work for a really good company. Claudia would know. He works with me part-time, and they gave everybody today off as well, in addition to the Monday.
Good.
And that was really nice. They saw it, that everyone just needed a break. Now that being said, I had an interview. Well, so I had someone slide into my meetings before I could block off my calendar for the day. So I took that meeting. And then I did an interview for the Minecraft podcast, because that can't stop happening. So, and then I mean, I'll admit, it was a slower day than normal. I got to open our pool. Our pool is open now, which is nice. I know in Texas they probably never close their pools, but up here in Canada, and definitely in Minnesota, they have to we close our pools, Claudio, in the winter.
There are people who do close them, and I grew up in California. I'm like,
why?
Still go in the pool now? It's not
right. I wouldn't close my pool ever. But yeah, so we opened the pool, got it all filled, topped up, for lack of better words. Had to buy a bunch of new, equipment and stuff. It wears out over the years, and got it all set up. So I've been outside. So that actually adds to I'm doubly tired from physical labor and being outside most of the day, in addition to the 2 hours of streaming and 1 hour of interviews and half an hour and 45-minute meeting. So it was still a pretty busy day. Welcome to everybody who's joining us in the chat. If you're watching and you have questions, comments, whatever, just chime in. That's what we're here for, just to kind of chat. We did come up with questions, and these are pretty interesting. They're generally related to what we talked about on the podcast. So if you are following along at home, and you want to follow along better, then what you should really do, friends, is go download the podcast and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Because then you'll know what the hell we're going to talk about tonight, and be able to weigh in, which is exciting for everybody. MJ is known as hardcore and competitive, I guess. But would he make a good leader in education? What characteristics comprise a great edu leader? I mean, it's funny. I was talking to someone the other day about have you guys watched The West Wing?
Yes,
a little bit.
Okay. The West Wing is my favorite show of all time. I've watched The West Wing from start to finish at least 15 or 20 times.
Oh wow.
And yeah. I can listen to an episode and have my eyes closed and know exactly what's happening in The West Wing. Wow. Which is a little crazy, but whatever. But one of the things that I long for a little bit is a bit of that work environment. I love the idea that you can respect the hell out of people and recognize that they're incredibly smart, incredibly capable, Yet they may have different opinions than you, and allow them, give everyone the space to argue their position, respectfully, but passionately, maybe even heatedly. But you come out in the end still respecting each other, and and then allow the person who makes the decision to make the decision. And I think that that's one of the things, especially, it's funny that this is really a problem in like Ontario education, where you're not allowed to, like, the union is so strong in Ontario, the teachers union, that there's actually like rules against like calling out other teachers, like in the sense that it's like, you can't come up to a teacher and say, listen, you're not doing your job, or something to that, like, you know what I mean? I can't come up to someone and say, listen, I have a problem with the way something is happening, and then have like a respectful conversation. You may not agree, but you're not even allowed to do that. I think that there are some pretty strong rules against like talking to people in a way that is like, I don't want to say combative, because that's not even the spirit that I'm talking about. We're talking about just like, you can't confront people, right? You can't say, I need you to be better. Right. Which, I mean, I think in all jobs, you need to be able to have the space to tell people that, even people above you. And that doesn't exist. There's no. So my point is that I'm not sure there would be space for a Michael Jordan, because clearly Michael Jordan, just like almost every great sports leader that we know of, always demanded that their teammates do their best and absolutely called them out when they weren't. I actually, there's a really funny story that gets told every once in a while of the Matt Sundin era of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Matt Sundin was the captain of the Leafs for a number of years, probably about 10 to 12 years. One of the great captains of the Leafs. And they were planning to call out someone who wasn't, pulling their weight in the team. And it was, so it's like Matt Sundin and Ty Domi and Gary Roberts waiting for you in your hotel room to tell you, that you got to get your, what together. And it's respectful, but it's still like, do your job. We're out here doing our jobs. It's, we need you to do yours too. And that's the way Michael Jordan was in a lot of ways. And I'm not sure that there's room for that, but I wish there was just a little bit, because I think it would make everyone better. It made the Bulls better.
I would say, we were talking a little bit about this before. I haven't watched the Last Dance, but been reading articles about some of the other players that were with him and appreciated his the way he pushed them. But they also mentioned that they always mentioned Scottie Pippen as well. Scottie Pippen, teammate with Michael Jordan, and that when Michael Jordan would go up to a player and say, man, you got, would get in his face and would say something to him, Scottie Pippen would come over and say, like, you're all right, man. He loves you. You just you keep pushing. It's not personal. He wants to win. He's got 6 rings. He wants to win. He never lost a championship. So I think that I would say the winning attitude of wanting to I would say we got to do what's best for students. We got to let's win this, and I guess in a way challenge teachers, educators. And I think the challenge, what happens a lot of times is thinking of if Michael Jordan were coming and being, I don't know, director, administrator or something. A lot of times what happens is it's people who move out of the classroom and become administrators. They forget what they've done in the classroom and what it was to be a teacher, and they're over here, and then like
say it ain't so.
And then it's like you forgot where you came from, and it's like you can't. It's like, wait a minute. And so when you demand of someone, it's like, I hope you would have lived in those shoes to be able to say what you're saying. You know, it's almost like, and I would say if it was Michael Jordan telling me like I got to play harder, it's like, well, I'm gonna listen to him because he got rings. So I guess in a sense, yes, but I also agree with you, Mike. I think it would be tough to have someone like that.
For sure.
You know, if especially you said it's hard to confront educators and you know, like, come on, man, you got to do what's best. There was so many times I wanted to do that too. I don't, when I was in the classroom and like almost like, man, why are you teaching? Why are you doing it? Like, if you hate the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I guess I hope that his sense of competition was not just for himself and like his glory, but it was for the team and making the team better. And so with that idea, I feel like that is great to have in education. Like I think a spirit of competition is not a negative thing to have in education, but if you're going to be competitive, I would hope that you're doing it not to make yourself go higher up on a pedestal or look better to other people, but it would be to improve the whole, so that your whole school, your whole district, whatever it might be. And so in that sense, I guess I think that I like that aspect of Michael Jordan and would like that aspect in education. I just know that any group that is looking out only for themselves is not going to excel. But when they can work together as a team to improve and be competitive with other people, maybe they're going to make great gains and they're going to do great things for their students.
There's a comment here that was really good in the chat. I think it's this one. Education typically isn't a single fit sort of place, and MJ was pretty tied to his own way of doing things. I think but there is though a similarity. I'd push back on this maybe a little bit in the sense that, the Bulls are still a team, right? And there's lots of people like Michael Jordan was the leader. And I wonder, the Bulls knew that Jordan was carrying them in some ways. Pippen was great. Rodman was great. There's a lot of, that was a great team, obviously, and it takes a great team to do what they did. But, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. And these everyone else was great too, but, Michael Jordan. So
he was the one that was, as Obi-Wan Kobe says, he was the one that was taken by the Toon Squad to actually help the team.
It took a while for a Space Jam reference, but here we go.
Oh man, I could quote that whole movie for you if you want.
Wow. That's awesome.
And I think that before we even go on, Fenway fan had a point too. Is part of Jordan's greatness due to Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Because
I like that.
I think that there are room for Jordans as leaders, because I think just education needs all kinds of leaders. Even when I look at my own faculty, I can see so many different leaders and how great they are. But I think you still need someone to pull it all together. And I don't think Jordan would be able to do that. I don't think Jordan could coach. Phil Jackson can coach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gretzky couldn't coach. Tried.
Not everyone can.
Ty Cobb
can coach. Whole different ballgame.
This is going to be a sports themed episode. Let's try to bring in as many sports metaphors as we possibly can. It's a contest.
We've now turned into Around the Horn.
There it is.
It'll just be a field of dreams,
This one's interesting. My MJ was transcendent. I haven't seen as many educators that are as central to their institution as perhaps, like as in the idea that, when Jordan left, the Bulls aren't the Bulls without Jordan.
Right.
The Cavaliers definitely are not the Cavaliers without LeBron. The Oilers were not the Oilers without Gretzky. Actually, I should take that back. The Oilers were the Oilers without Gretzky. Interesting.
No, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think any school should be.
Oh gosh, yeah, no.
have some teacher who is so central that they're transcendent. I think that would.
There's only one person that I can think of that is was like and like I don't know obviously I don't know every school district and every school board that is all over North America, but I can tell you, and Claudio knows who I'm gonna reference, and it probably agrees with me. Carl Hooker embodied Eanes, and they're not the same with him. Not even.
Agree. Yep.
And they'll hate that I'm saying that, but I don't give a damn anymore because all of the people that we liked at Eanes aren't there anymore because Carl left and then they all left, and it's not the same. So there aren't many people like that. I think Carl is the only one that comes to the top of my mind as someone that was so central to the success of like they were identified almost as one of the best districts in America for ed tech, and Carl had everything to do with that. But there's not many like that, but I would agree with Mel that it probably shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't need one I'm not going to use the word rock star, one great teacher to carry a district or whatever. I think the goal of what most of us do, at least the four of us do, is build capacity so that we don't need one teacher carrying everybody, but that everybody can excel on their own, right?
Yeah. Before we move on to the next one, thinking I was reading another article about it today. A former teammate of his Horace Grant was not a fan of him. And you think about, you mentioned the educators that not to be transcendent at a campus, but that are doing amazing things. And then you have other educators that it's like, well, stop doing that because you're making me look bad. Now I have to step up my game. And it's like, well, oh, good. Now they're gone. Now we don't have to. And in a sense, it's like the Michael Jordan would push the other player to be better. And you would hope, it's like, man, not to compare yourself with someone else, but at the same time, it's like, I know I can do more. I could probably step up my game and I can do more. Again, it's ultimately who you're doing it for. It's for the students. So in a sense, that would be a good thing as far as seeing an MJ and it's like, I can probably do a little more. I can probably step up. So
for sure.
I agree. Someone in our little DM chat said, "I wish Dave was going to be with us today because this is Dave's question, and he's probably watching, or at least he'll watch after. I'm sure. College is expensive. Should students be able to receive a refund because they had to finish this year online? What are students paying for with colleges? Damn, Audrey. And what are colleges really selling? Eek." Well, you get to answer it first then. I'm not touching that shit.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, and this is why we need Dave here. Like, what are colleges really selling? I mean, I know for me, my college experience was hands down some of the best learning I have ever had and done.
Oh, really? Mine was the worst.
Oh, really?
I hated my Bachelor of Education.
Oh, gosh.
Hated it.
I would say my bachelor's was a better experience, a higher rigor than even my master's courses that I had to take. But I think the experiences that I gained, the people that I met, the way I was pushed to grow out of my comfort zones and to, I don't know. I mean, I just, it was such a great experience to me. I loved it. It was hard. It was stressful. But I mean, I thought it was wonderful. So in terms of like, what are they selling? I think that the experiences that I had in learning at college was phenomenal. What are we paying for?
You're paying for that. I mean, you just don't always get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that you did. I did.
Great. Cool. Go Cougars.
Nice. That's awesome.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I remember getting my bills and being like, "Are you serious? I have to pay for, like the gym so that the gym can keep operating, and I have to pay for this like sports stuff. I don't even go to any sporting games. There's a lot of extra stuff that I had to pay for that I thought was kind of bogus. So I completely understand like those kids who are like, I'm not even on campus. I can't utilize
student fees.
Yeah.
Student fees.
Yeah.
Student union fees. Right?
Right. Yeah. So, and I do get that. But I think Glenn had said in the podcast that, their professors really, did try to continue giving them the best education that they possibly could under the strange circumstances that we're in. And so I would hope that they would still be thankful that they were able to continue on with their degrees. In the way they were.
I like this. I like a lot of this. Not a full refund. Students are still getting the credits for the classes they take. I mean, I feel like that answers the question. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the other stuff, but I think if you're getting you're paying for the credits.
Yeah,
you're paying, for the credits.
And most of those instructors have worked their butts off the last 2 months to help you get those credits. Maybe it wasn't what you expected. Maybe it wasn't what you desired. Maybe it wasn't as good as what it could have been, but that is life. And those instructors did as best they could.
Nothing is like what you're expecting right now. Give it up. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's just being entitled. So.
Sorry, I got angry there.
I was actually on the side. I was actually on the they probably should have refund, but after having read Obi-Wan Kenobi's, that's so cool.
It's a good dude.
It really made me think. That's a great point there. If you really think about it, and then towards the end, it's that what are you selling? That those amenities. I mean, I remember when I was in college for my bachelor's. Between my bachelor's and my master's, I think it was about 15 years, maybe. Let's see, doing the math. Yeah. And so I remember paying for some athletic place and some of this, that. And I was like, I graduated. Man, I never got to use it. I never got to see that.
Yeah.
Until I went back for my master's. I'm like, okay, I finally get to see this now. I finally got to use it. But even then, when I'm there for my master's, it was like, I just went there for the class and went back home, went there for the class after work. And it wasn't like, I wasn't there for the experience as far as like college experience. And I was like, I got a full-time job, family. I'm trying to get my master's and go there and get back home and get the work done. But I think I enjoyed my master's more than my bachelor. So I was, I think the bachelor's time was kind of like, it just flew by.
We've brought this up on the podcast a couple times, but in Canada, you don't really, there's not a lot of incentive to take your master's. So not a lot of people do. Yeah. Like I have 2 degrees, right? Like I have a BA, and then you have to take what's called a Bachelor of Education. When I took it, it was 1 year. Now it's 2 years. So you have to do 6 years of school just to be a teacher in Ontario. But not a lot of people take their masters. You have to take your masters to be a principal, though. Okay. So that's really the only incentive that people have in Ontario to get a master's degree is if they want to be a principal.
In California, a master's degree the incentive is like a huge difference in your pay scale.
Yeah,
between a bachelor's. But when I moved here to Texas, I already had my master's, so it was like I was already. But like right now, between a bachelor's and a master's, it's like $1,000 difference, maybe.
Yeah,
and it's like. You're gonna pay more than you're never gonna make up for paying for your master's programs, unless you go to be an administrator. Other than that, it's like there's no
the difference between a principal and a top, so a max. So there's a scale in Ontario, and the top of the scale, with the top level of like there's a vertical scale of years and a horizontal scale of kind of what they call additional qualifications. They're like your credits that you can get to increase your pay. So at the top of that scale and the top of that years, which is 10 years, it's called an A4. an A4 teacher at 10 years makes about $100,000 a year in Ontario, no matter what grade you teach. So kindergarten teacher, like my wife's been teaching for 12 years. And so, she makes about 100 grand. That's pretty public knowledge in Ontario. And then for a principal, I think makes about 127. So there's about a $27,000 difference between being a. So that's what you're paying for, I guess, when you get your master. I'm actually side note, and I don't know if I've said it out loud yet, but I'm about to start my master's in September. Yeah, I hadn't done it yet, and I kind of want to. So I'm starting my master's in September, which is exciting.
Yay, you!
Yeah. I have even less incentive to do my master's because I have no intention of being a school principal. I just kind of want it because I talk shit all the time about people, and I should be able to back it up with academia. I guess. So, right. So I'll be going to the I'll be doing the University of British Columbia's Masters of Educational Technology. It's educational technology, it's one of the only programs in the world of its kind that is literally that's the actual degree. Is you're a Master of Educational Technology. So it's really cool. So I'm pretty excited.
All online.
Nice. So good friend Paul Darvasi.
Yeah.
Did his MET. That's his master's degree. He's now Dr. Paul Darvasi, but he has his MET. And there you go. Nick has an MET as well. In the chat, Nick, tell me where you got your MET from. I'd be interested in knowing because there's not many. The only other thing. Tim Cavey's watching. Yes. Tim Cavey lives in BC. So there we go. So I don't know what Johnny Hopkins is. Is that funny?
I mean, probably Johns Hopkins.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I know a couple other people have their METs, so that's cool. So I'm pretty excited about that. I may do my PhD. That's really what I'm thinking about doing. So
I know that's something I play around with all the time.
Hey, there's I don't know if there's an interesting question regarding like teachers' pay next year, if it'll be impacted. That's pretty interesting question. You picked it up. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wondering if teacher pay will. So, I mean, in Ontario, no. They literally just signed a collective bargaining agreement 3 weeks ago. So teachers' pays are basically locked in for the next, I think, 3 years.
Yeah, I would say no, probably for most places, just because contracts are done. Now, long term, I mean, if economically this does turn into more of a recession, then yeah, I mean, it could definitely impact over the next few years. But
can they violate like bargaining agreements? Like, don't you have unions, right?
Right. I mean, we're contracted, so they can't go back and change.
Yeah. At least that's how it is for like K through 12. I don't know about at colleges and universities. So if that would be affected, I think it's affected by how you teach.
Yeah, I mean, there are unions at colleges and universities for teachers, but
sure.
I have no doubt they're not as strong as like a elementary teachers.
Yeah, I mean, I know like here in Texas, each kid is a dollar sign, so
sure.
if you're only allowed to have a certain number of students in a class or whatever happens to be, how does that impact the money coming in to be able to pay teachers? I don't know. I mean, I think like you said, I think this year it's I wouldn't say it's safe, but I don't know. I would think it is, but down the road we shall see. We never know.
Yeah.
Gotta wonder how many slimy governments are gonna say catastrophic impacts cause us to cut your pay or whatever.
Yeah. I know, like, my husband, when he taught at a tech school, every semester it was different for him, just depending on how many students were signed up for his class or just how many credits he was able to teach. And so it was never a solid job, because depending on how many credits you taught also would depend if you were able to get benefits or not. So I don't know. I think it's tough for those.
Yeah.
Mike, you're muted.
Mike needs to wake up.
Mike.
The Mountain Dew is fading.
Yeah,
too early.
You don't have a second one ready?
It's not living up to its billing as something that's supposed to wake your ass up.
Oh man.
Not working. Some educational assistants and custodial staff might be let go of schools. Don't go full time. I mean, if you have to do less cleaning and you have to teach EA less kids, I mean, you're not needed.
Mm-hmm.
And again, those unions in Ontario, those roles are unionized, but less strong for sure, and less able to put up a fight for sure. When they, when it happens, if it happens. So it's definitely something that's possible. Thanks, Tim, for that comment. I should mention that I joined Tim for Teachers on Fire last week. So Tim, get editing that episode. What are you doing watching us? You should be editing podcasts, Tim.
No, thanks for taking a break, Tim, and joining us tonight.
Whatever. God. We're seeing vast amounts of false news being spread, even by smart, well-respected individuals. How do you teach media literacy to adults without sounding like a know-it-all? I don't have the answer to this because I'm not conflicted by this sort of dilemma. I joked with Claudio about that off air. I don't give a damn. This is literally what I'm known for. So someone else has got to answer this damn question.
Yeah,
I
don't have an answer. Claudio, did you want to take it first? You go right ahead.
Audrey was nice to Tim. Maybe she can, give us an answer to this.
And, I mean, I guess it just depends on, I've seen it going around through Twitter, Facebook. On Facebook, I connect to a lot of non-educators and family members and friends, and Twitter's mainly educators. So the folks that aren't living in this world as far as like media literacy, it's just one of those things where it's like, maybe comment on there, this is not an accurate, I don't know, I probably would say this is not an official post or official, I would hope that because of my position as an educator, they would just, that's my hope, but I would just say, yeah, this is not an accurate description of what the CDC has sent out. We need to make sure we don't listen to everything we see. Abraham Lincoln didn't say that, online. But there's other occasions where some other things have come up where I've commented and I think, man, I'm going to sound like someone a know-it-all, but I was like, at the same time I was like, I don't care, just because it's misinformation. You gotta make sure it's spread out, and then people start freaking out. Oh, what are we gonna do? And it's like, first of all, don't listen to, consider the source, find out where it's from. But
I like to drop because I feel like I'm probably never quite good enough of a source, because like, if they're believing, but I like to drop little Snopes or PolitiFact or something kind of just in the little comments and just say, well, that there's this. But, for some people, it doesn't matter, because when Plandemic came out, I read some comments on a Facebook stream, and it wasn't my wall because God, but there's this woman who said, well, Snopes is just leftist and blah, blah, blah. God. And then someone brought up, check Wikipedia, just check the biography of this doctor. Well, Wikipedia is not a very good source either. And I'm sitting here banging my head going, but YouTube, 100% reliable. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm-
there for some there's no hope.
No,
Yeah,
it's
like
true.
Snopes is bad, but Alex Jones is good.
Yeah. I guess I would say that, like, with our students, when they are doing something where we would like to correct them, we would never call them out in front of everybody and like point a finger at them and be like, you're terrible. You need to change what you're doing. I guess I would approach it by maybe like DMing them or private messaging them and just saying, hey, just so you know, this isn't actually true. Here are some articles that, backing up my statement. Maybe you want to think about, posting something or taking that post down, so that you're not spreading information that's not true. And I guess, hopefully that would come across as being a little less pricky than calling them out in front of everybody else and being like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
and
is so easy
add-
to get behind.
add to it, if
Mhm.
you're looking at smaller communities, rural communities like where I live in, a lot of this stuff is posted by our students' parents
Yeah.
and students' family members. So that adds a whole new level of tact that is needed in choosing your own battles, because you know that you're going to have to teach this person's child next year. So how do you tackle this while still retaining a good relationship? So
That's tough.
it's hard. It's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Teach them to their kids.
As really quoted by Mike Washburn, that's not even misinformation. He actually said it.
Should be complicated, friends. Listen, it takes us right back to the first question. You got to be able to tell people you think they're wrong and it not destroy your friendship. What did it? Glenn said something on the podcast probably a couple weeks ago now, that stuck with me. He was like, there are things about my friends I just wish I didn't know, because now I think less of them because I know that they're like raging Trumpsters or something like that. And it's like, I don't like you anymore because I know your political affiliations. And it's like, we got to get out of this. Well, and I mean, it's hard because, I would say, Mike Washburn would say, I'll start liking them again when they stop, doing this and this and this and this and this, and list you a laundry list of all the just absolute nonsense that they're up to. And then I'll be happy to go back and, like you despite who you support when they can be normal again. But we still, like, I will go back to the fact that we do need. I deleted Facebook for my New Year's resolution. I feel like I'm missing out.
You're not.
So I think this has come up recently too. Like, my Facebook list is super tight. Like, and it's like that for a reason. And maybe it's a bubble. I think I have one person that I'm Facebook friends with that I know is like a Republican, like a real, like a hard right Republican. But that's not intentional. I don't think I'm intentionally culling my Facebook feed of conservatives. I think I'm keeping it tight so I don't. I'm trying to lower my signal to noise ratio in like every aspect of my life. This kind of stuff doesn't help, obviously. I'm looking at 3 freaking screens here, and speaking of signal to noise, but anyways, we definitely got to be able to have conversations without having fights.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this podcast is kind of for too, in some ways. Or at least I hope it is. Though we still haven't yet had someone willing to come on the podcast and fight with me. If you want to be that person, let's go.
Oh man. Yeah. I would hope that these people who are posting things that are, just absolutely incorrect, especially those who are smart and well-educated people, they would recognize their error, and they would be thankful that you let them know that they made an error, and they need to remember that they need to check their sources to make sure that it's valid and corroborate it with other sources as well. And so
I pulled this up on Snopes. in like literally a second. Yeah, I all that I did, well, when we first turned the thing, is I just wrote, what did I write? CDC guidelines, Snopes. That's all I wrote. That's all I wrote. Did CDC issue strict guidelines for reopening schools? And it doesn't show the exact version of the graphic that like our boy Blanchard has been like ranting about.
I hope he might need
What a
to like
version.
go get mediation for that, or some. We might need an intervention on him
What
because
a
he's
version of
really.
a
Yeah.
version of this. This
Yeah.
is the same one, just with different graphics.
Mhm.
And it's wrong. Like, it's not accurate. And you know, we have people that are sharing it, and all that you had to do was do like the easiest Google search in the world, and you would have known that it wasn't accurate and it wasn't from the CDC. And it's like that image. I saw an image on Facebook today where it said, you know, someone says something, and then had like the wrong name related to the person at the top, and then the picture was a completely different person.
I saw that too.
Right? It was a picture of Prince.
Yes, it was a print.
It was a picture of Prince, but it was like
Oh,
the quote was attributed to Bob Dylan, but the picture was Prince.
yeah,
Like,
Hey, they're both
it
from
was
Minnesota.
like, right. And
yeah.
all you gotta do, folks, like seriously, like, isn't this what the internet is supposed to be for? Is like getting the right answers on things and finding out information. Like,
Well, you know, it's funny that the other
this
day
is all you had to do.
there was a someone posted like a math problem, and I forgot what it was, and people were arguing about what the answer was, and it's like, you know, it was 2 + 2 times something. I forget what it was, the exact numbers, but people were saying this number, this number. Like, well, you know, no, if you do it properly, if you do the math, you know, PEMDAS or whatever the you know, you used to remember, pretty please my dear Aunt Sally, whatever that was. So no, you do the order of operations there. That's trying to think of that order of operations. That's not the right answer. This is the answer. No, it's this one. I was like, you know, that this order of operations has been around for like hundreds of years. It's not, you know, this is not, I'm not, they were saying this is the new math, you know, like the new math. Because no, this is not new math. This is, I go, put it in your calculator, type it into your calculator, and you'll find out the answer that you're wrong. And it's like, I respectfully disagree. You're wrong. Put it in the calculator and try it out. It's like, it's not new math. This is order of operations, been around. So I think that's probably the first time I did something like that, when someone posted something about education, and it's like, I don't know, you're wrong. That's just, your math is wrong.
But I think a lot of it goes down to what Mary had. You know, it's hard to convince people because they want it to be right, and because they want it to be right, it's right, and they don't want to risk that is not true. So we're just in a new era of, and maybe it's not new, but people are just going to choose what they want to believe, and that will be their truth.
Confirmation bias is like an incredibly powerful force. And, you know, it goes back to, you know, Carrie Ann Conway saying alternative facts is like the ultimate in like confirmation bias, just taking things and just twisting them as hard as you possibly can so that they suit your narrative. It's so funny. I still go back to the clip every once in a while, and you can see it on YouTube, and you can see that she can't believe she's saying it until she actually like barfs it out of her mouth, and now it's a thing, right? But like you just watch the look on her face when she says alternative facts. It's like, oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, there's that. I'm trying to find it, but there was someone shared an article that there's these two little birds talking, and it's like, what if I told you this? And you know, like, it had talked about George Washington's teeth, and then there was he had used teeth, like the wooden teeth, gold teeth, and like, okay, yeah. And then when it said he had some teeth that were slaves, and he had all the resources, like all the research, and as you go down, it's like it if you're objective, you're like, that's it. If you're stuck on something, you're going to be, it's going to rock you because like, no, I've always known this to be true. And it's like, well, if you the research has been done, it's obviously that, whatever what you thought was true is maybe, but then now there's this other part that you have to add to that in addition to what you grew up learning about. So I just think you have to be willing to shift and like Mike said, just listen, have conversations.
Even if you don't know the answers, like I would never pretend to know the answers to all the stuff we talk about on the podcast. I just want people to talk about it. And like have the conversations and even argue about it and disagree with me, please. Because that's in my mind, for me, that helps us have better outcomes in the end. We're going to figure it out together instead of, this like back and forth where everyone just doesn't listen to each other and just says, this is what I believe and nothing you can say would change it. So I think this is Mary has come up with your image. It's funny. This is how I know that Claudio and I follow a lot of the same people on Facebook, and that we're because I think we both saw it on Facebook because I think I saw it just the other day too.
I love the oatmeal.
Yes.
I guess I should look if I want to pull it up. I should look at it, but I don't actually know how to do that from this, so I'm not gonna do it, friends. I just don't have it in me.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, that's it.
That's hilarious.
So what's everyone got going on next week? Other than you have the day off on Monday, I guess.
Monday's nice.
Right? What's Memorial Day for? What do you guys celebrate? I don't know.
For Memorial Day?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like Veterans Day, except that we're just remembering all of the service people who have given their lives for our country.
Oh, that's nice.
But it's also
do you do that on November 11th too?
Well, that's Veterans Day. There's that, yes, but we also are honoring the people who are still alive. So a lot of Memorial Day, like people will go out to the cemeteries and put flowers on all of the crosses for the servicemen who have lost their lives.
It's for families too. I mean, for years and years, I would go out with my grandma and she always had the old artificial flowers, and we'd go up to the cemetery and put the artificial flowers on the graves of family members. And that was kind of how I learned about my family, because she would show me where each grave was and tell me stories about this family member and this family member. And I mean, it's kind of a lovely holiday, not strictly military, but just in memoriam of everyone.
Nice. Remembrance Day is celebrated in Canada as well, as a proud member of the Commonwealth. I should actually also mention that Remembrance Day is my birthday. So there's that. That's not what we're celebrating though. Cool. Well, then you'll have Monday off, I guess. Everyone, you guys are going to do whatever you do. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I mean, I
get it off too. I'm a Canadian that celebrates American holidays now, I guess.
Yeah. You just need to grill some brats and some hamburgers. And
well, I can do that.
You're good to go.
Okay, well, I can do that. I got that. Awesome. And what else is going on this week? Are you doing you're doing iPad collection phase 2, Audrey?
Yeah, phase 2, and then also we're having conversations with all of our grade levels about kind of talking about what was missed this year in terms of solid learning that we didn't get to, and they're having conversations with the grades below them and the grades above them to just communicate those gaps so that the teachers next year can know where their students are going to be coming and meeting their students where they are and getting them caught up.
Nice. Very cool. Claudia, what's going on with you?
Well, relax on Monday and then just start wrapping it up for work-wise. I'm still working at home. I don't know what we're working on some summer stuff, some summer projects, and personally working on my my YouTube stuff and working on my weekly show Wednesday evening. So pretty excited about that. I think
Nice.
5th episode, I think maybe.
Nice. Mel, what do you got going on? Nothing.
I checked
Oh, you're
out
done.
today.
You're done.
So
Damn.
I got some projects that I'm working
Sure you
on.
do.
So
You're looking at pictures of that.
Wine. I got a project. I got Project Wine.
So no, I'm keeping busy, and
Cool.
the son gets his braces off on Thursday, so that's
Exciting.
like all of a sudden my daughter also wants to go, and I'm like, why would you want to go? Because we're going to 2 hours, the town 2 hours over, which has a Walmart. She's like, I haven't been out of the town since like winter, since this whole thing started.
Yeah.
I'm like, you really want to just drive 2 hours to go to Walmart? Yes. Yeah, she's probably already preparing.
Hilarious.
Got her list.
I have I have 2 episodes of the Minecraft podcast that are ready to be released. With one episode with Ben Kelly and another episode with Trish Cloud and Ben Spieldenner.
Oh, cool.
Interviewing Steve Isaacs on Monday.
Cool.
Interviewing Glenn Irvin Esquire next Saturday.
That's cool.
For the Minecraft podcast.
So cool.
So we'll have Glenn on, which is exciting, talking about language learning. And so we're trying to that'll take us to because episode 1 is out. So that'd take us to episode 5. By this time next week, we'll have 4 episodes of the podcast done, halfway. Done. It's an 8-episode season. Now I got to start the high pressure campaign for a second season with, Microsoft. We'll see how that goes.
Sure.
And what else? The Participate podcast comes out on Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday. We interviewed Margaret Honey from the New York Hall of Science, which is really, really cool. So then lots of streaming with Steve Isaacs, playing video games.
Yeah.
And drinking
learnings. What's that? Drinking lots of No, I'm out, man. I think that was the last can.
Oh no.
It's a crisis over here.
You look like you got your second win, so that's good.
No. I'm gonna as soon as I hit stop, I'm cooked. You're gonna see it in about 30 seconds. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks, Mel, Audrey, Claudio. You guys are the best. Thanks everybody for watching, either live or later on YouTube or wherever else this ends up, which is a couple other places. Thanks to Mary for being a very lively member of our chat tonight. That was lovely of you.
Thank you.
And hope everyone stays healthy and safe, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone.